breaking down the deals, data, and disruption shaping global markets. You're listening to The Daily Ledger with Dennis Seethe.
Hey folks, welcome to the Daily Ledger Show. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I am your host, Dennis Seethe. Great to be here with you today. Today is December 22nd, Monday, December 22nd. Wow, time really flies. We're almost at the holiday season. It's almost Christmas. Already the holiday season. So how crazy is that? Hope you guys are getting your cheer on. We got some good stories for us today. We're going to talk about the San Francisco blackout and what may have caused it. In fact, what did cause it. We're going to talk about a little bit more about iRobot. And apparently the founder came out and gave an interview and he said some interesting things. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about teenagers who are running their own AI companies per the Wall Street Journal and the boomers' reaction. I bet you can guess what that reaction is by the boomers. And finally, we're going to talk about Elon Musk's $56 billion pay package, which was struck down in January 2024. And we'll see if that has made a comeback or not. But before we do that, we get into all of that, let's go ahead and discuss some of the macroeconomic indicators here. So Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 0.38%. NASDAQ is up 1.31%. S&P 500 is up 0.88%. Things are in the green today. Nice. And Bitcoin is up 2.03% at 89,814. Very nice. So before we get into the stories today, make sure to download Byte AI Market Analysis, which is a stock market co-pilot. It tells you when to enter and exit the market based off of news sentiment, as well as technical indicators like the Bollinger Bands, RSI curve, and MACD/signal curve. Or in other words, a mathy way to trade. Economists use those indicators to trade. And you can go into here and see why it's underbought. It's more of a day trading tool, so it refreshes every half hour to an hour for every stock in your portfolio, and it tells you exactly why the AI thought that it was underbought or overbought or neutral based off of all of the indicators that I mentioned. You can also read the news analysis here. Very good. So let's get into our first story here, which is about the SF blackout, and this one is specifically Waymo resumes service in San Francisco after robo-taxis stall during blackout. Waymo suspended its robo-taxi service in San Francisco on Saturday evening after a massive blackout appeared to leave many of its vehicles stalled on city streets. So I heard about this in some of the group chats that I'm in with my buddies in San Francisco. And as well as I was kind of keeping up with the news as well with this blackout that happened in San Francisco. There was this massive blackout just over the weekend, Saturday, December 20th. 130,000 PG&E customers were affected. And the blackout appeared to have been caused by a fire at the Pacific Gas and Electric PG&E substation in the city. Wow. That's pretty bad because PG&E has been behind other fires in California. And I used to live in California in the Sacramento area, kind of east of Sacramento. And yeah, it was really bad because I would smell a lot of the smoke when I was in high school, right? Because in 2017, there were the North Bay fires, which were also caused by PG&E and did terrible damage, burned 245,000 acres, destroying 8,900 structures and killing 44 people, the 2017 North Bay fires. And I remember I was a junior in high school. I was walking around and, I would smell the smoke and I was doing rowing at the time. So I really, I never vaped. I don't do any of that stuff, no drugs, keep the nose clean, everything. Right. But of course, a lot of my classmates used to vape a lot and stuff. I never touched that because I'm trying to keep the lungs pristine for rowing. Right. To this day, I just made it a habit. I never touched any of that stuff. Right. So it's like, but like a step beyond vaping and whether or not you do it, it's like So I'm already like, careful about the air quality. If the air quality index is higher than 50, that's actually pretty bad. Means there's like a particulate in the air that can like potentially damage your lungs if you have long-term exposure and whatever. So, normally it's supposed to be between 0 and 50, the air quality index, and you can just check on the weather app. And I like it when it's like 10 or 15. If it's anything above that, I tend to stay indoors, right? I take this stuff really seriously. And above 50, it's usually pretty bad, like officially speaking. But whenever during the 2017 North Bay fires, and then also during the 2018 Camp Fire, which I'm going to get to, also PGA, by the way, I would walk around in high school with a mask on. Before it was like, quote, cool. Like, it was never really cool to wear a mask, but you had to wear it in 2020 with the pandemic. And otherwise, you were labeled like, oh, are you some sort of, whatever, like they'll put some sort of label on it. It's like, wow, you need to, conspiracy theorist or whatever, right? It's like, oh, wow, like you're taking off your mask. You're a threat to public safety. It's like, screw off, right? I'm going to go get my education. And yeah, I care about air quality. I'm not going to breathe in my own like bacteria again. That's again, terrible for your lungs. In fact, that's why I quit the rowing team in college. I saw what they were doing was, I love I loved, Tony and Evan, great guys, coaches, I actually, salute the team and everything. What I'm talking about though, is the action of having masks on while rowing. Because while you erg, just real quick, while you like do indoor rowing, right? You're already like, burning a ton of calories. It's a very intensive aerobic sport. Like your heart's beats per minute is like above 150 just at the steady state. If you go harder and do anaerobic, it's like, closer to 180, 200 your beats per minute. So it's very intensive. And it's like they made it a point, like for whatever reason, the policy during 2020 and 2021 for the rowing team was like, oh, you have to wear a mask while you row. It's like, I ain't doing that because it gets sweaty in like 5 minutes and it gets disgusting. And then you start breathing in the bacteria. But no, you're doing it for public safety. No. If you're at risk, you go ahead and wear the mask. No, and I don't say that condescendingly, really. Like, wear the mask for your safety. But I'm not gonna. Sorry. I quit the team because of that. And then I was embarrassed because I thought that, they would sort of call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever, right? At the time I was like 20, 21. So I said, oh, it was because I want to focus on academia. And it's fine. Like my grades are fine. My grades were fine as well, right? And it's like, I graduated with a great GPA, bachelor's and MEng from MIT. Most people don't do their MEng. And it's like, yeah, I'll just finish off this rant real quick. I kind of got derailed a little bit, but just to finish this off, I had to lie and say, no, it's because of my grades in academia. No, I left because they try to mask me while rowing. And that is a huge no-no. Like, I'm not getting bacterial pneumonia because, the government wants to like, really put pressure onto doing all the little like COVID precautions that they wanted you to do. No, screw that. Anyways, so that's why I quit the team. But yeah, so that's all just to say, like, I really care about my lung health. Something I care about deeply, right? Yeah, enough said. And it's like, I would walk around with a mask in 2017 and 2018 when the smoke got really bad, right? When it's like, you can see the sun like there's a certain look to it. And if you're from California, you'll understand during that time period, right? 2017, 2018, especially during the summers when it was fire season. That's actually why I moved, by the way. I'm in Florida now, by the way. During the fire season, during the summer, you would see the smoke was so bad. At night, like in the evening, the sun, like you could like almost watch the, you're not supposed to look at the sun, obviously, otherwise you'll go blind, but you could see the sun because the air was so thick with particulate. And it kind of looks beautiful, like in a chilling way, because it's like golden. It's like, but it's kind of unnatural and it's also extremely unhealthy. Anyways, the AQI, the air quality index was like 200, 250. I've never seen it that high ever. 250. Can you believe that? Above 50, above 25, I don't leave the house. Above 50, officials recognize it as unhealthy. It was 250. Sometimes one day I think it was 300. I swear to God. And yeah, and like everyone looks at you weird, like, oh, you're wearing a mask. It's like, screw you, right? Like I'm looking out for my health, for my, lung health here. And it's like, oh, you're trying to be cool. It's like, oh yeah, you're real cool, bud. You're real cool. Yeah, anyways. Um, but yeah, and it's like, you know what needs to happen? Because like North 2017 North Bay fires were caused by PG&E. 2018 Camp Fire, like capital C, Camp Fire. Um, fifth $13.5 billion in damages. PG&E had to pay that out. It was the deadliest fire in California's history. And PG&E itself acknowledged that it was responsible. It was apparently some transmission lines kind of fell over, sparked the fire. And with that, the campfire in 2018, 85 people were dead, 50,000 people were displaced, 154,000 people, acres, 154,000 acres were burned, and about 20K structures were destroyed. Just like terrible fire. And it's like, why is PG&E still around? Why is the CEO still employed? The CEO needs to be fired, and then PG&E needs to be dissolved because they failed. Okay? We're all big boys here. We're all, adults in the room. They failed, okay? It's time for them to go. It's time for the executives to be fired. It's time for PG&E to be dissolved, okay? You can't get away with, killing all these people, burning, $13.5 billion in damage, and then, oh, everything's okay. Public opinion just loves PG&E. And then they just caused this fire that had a SF blackout over the weekend. And, oh, everything's still okay. It's PG&E. Haha. Yeah, no. What needs to happen is, again, executives fired, dissolved company, and then, you know what? Normally, I'm not for the government taking control of anything really, but I think the government needs to step in and at least fund like a special interest group or maybe some sort of like a special fund that funds startups attempting to solve this problem, because this is ridiculous. PG&E, it's time to step down. Right? They weren't able to. I mean, they're killing all of these people, right? So yeah, I have really strong thoughts around PG&E and fires and kind of health and just general health. I'm a big health person, by the way. I'm huge into health. It's what drives my worldview. Okay. Yeah. So that's for another show, right? Talking about like all sorts of stuff they put in the food. Um, pesticides you need to be wary of, etc. I already talked about soy, I think, on a previous show. One of the earlier shows, by the way, before I got into the groove of things, before I had this cool mic, just hanging out, just like, oh yeah, I think my voice was shaking a little bit too. So funny. I was watching some of the, older shows. It's kind of funny. Anyways, all right, let's move on. Okay, so, the Wall Street Journal, these teenagers are already running their own AI companies. They may not drive yet, but they're getting an early start in business by leveraging vibe coding and social media. So this is kind of interesting because this is what I've been talking about, right, over the past few weeks and months. But, the Wall Street Journal finally comes out and kind of, I guess, they have front and center this kid. He's like 15, I guess. And he made an AI-powered finance tool that with more than 50,000 monthly users. Nice. Good job. And on the real, right? Like, unironically, good job. And he's a sophomore in high school, right? He's 15. Nice. And it's like, so this company, this article kind of goes into companies like Y Combinator and stuff that don't have minimum ages to reply. Like, I'm going to encourage my kids at 15, hey, apply to YC, apply to Pair, apply to A16Z Speedrun, apply to Google Venture, apply everywhere. Just, become an entrepreneur, a technical entrepreneur, because that's the way to succeed, right? I don't think the way to win in life is to just be doing a 9 to 5, pencil pushing, like whatever. It's like, like, if you're not able to do a startup, then you're gonna have to do what you have to do, right, to financially survive, which is by doing a 9 to 5 or whatever, right? So for that reason, I'm not totally against it, but it's like, if you really want to win, then you do a startup and you go into tech and you become a technical founder, right? Yeah. But yeah, and what was funny here was the people in the chat, specifically the boomers. So this is actually me here who's saying I love all the seething boomers in the chat. And you're gonna see why, because you see some of these guys. Here's this guy. He says in the Wall Street Journal comments, 15-year-olds who prompt AI to do things for them count as quote AI companies. And the next line, oh, he big guy for the next line, by the way. Okay, die. Yeah, I love when these boomers try to like have an impact. They think it's really deep. It's so everything's deep to them. It's like, oh wow, I have to put the right punctuation. I have to do the right, period at the end of my sentence, and then I have to for impact, and then I have to do a new line, and that makes me cool. And then I have to, yeah. No, it ain't that deep. Okay, so I can tell this guy's at least 65 just from the way he structured his like sentences here. New line. He cared about doing a new line, and he cared about putting a period at the end of that to leave impact, no doubt. It's like, give me a break. It's people like you who are just like, causing Gen Z to kind of perform badly in the labor market. It's like, it's okay. Just collect the Social Security. It's fine. Just get out of the job so we can get in here. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, other guy says, this isn't a business. Businesses generate revenue and earn profit. Kid should work more on his dating game. Girls are way more important at his age than free subscribers. Yeah, what an idiot. What I mean, like this guy is such a boomer. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, oh, I can tell he's doing like the Arthur meme too, clenching his fist at the side. It's like, oh, this kid, oh, 50,000 monthly active users, is doing so much better than me. Oh man, yeah. He's an incel. Yeah. Okay, I'm sure. Yeah. By the way, I'm telling you, I'm not talking about this kid, by the way. I'm talking about when you're, like 21 and you're a founder kind of, and with a large amount of monthly active users, and you get traction, and you get funding, and you get MRR, and you're super cool. Once you get super cool like that and you're a founder, oh, you don't have to work on your dating game at all. The women just come to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like this guy's like, oh yeah, he has to work on his dating game. No. If you're a 21-year-old male founder, and you have all this traction and you're super successful, like I said, you don't have to do jack shit. You just sit back and the women come to you. You know what I'm saying? Right. So this James guy, I can tell, another boomer, he just doesn't get the game. He just doesn't get it. It's okay. Like, you don't have to understand. Right? Just keep your dumb opinions to yourself. You don't have to go onto the Wall Street Journal and just like seethe. But I called him out though with this. I love all these seething boomers in the chat. Let's read another one. I'm trying to find a good one. I'm hearing an alarming trend in Silicon Valley of yeah, okay. I'm just going to read it, but whatever. I'm hearing an alarming trend in Silicon Valley of fetishizing young Asian girls in their teens as marketable whiz kids. I knew that the boy thing was what was really about. Let's be honest about these stories, dark underlining tone of these quote kids. And here's the part that I wanted to respond to, which I did. As if a 55-year tech veteran cannot eat their lunch in less than a day. Give me a break. A 55-year-old doesn't know how to fight his way out of a wet paper bag in the tech space, okay? So I talked about that. I responded and I said, a 55-year-old tech veteran reads off his credit card number to do a payment while the 17-year-old completes a Stripe link like a professional in 2025. So again, this guy's saying, oh, a 55-year-old tech veteran. A 55-year-old tech veteran means that he knows how to write code in BASIC. Do you even know what BASIC is? No, you shouldn't know what it is because it was a programming language in 1980. Okay. Tech evolves so quickly that you're behind even if you're a Gen Z. You know what I'm saying? Almost. Right? And then these boomers think there's some shit, right? 55-year-old tech veterans, oh, he's going to eat his lunch in less than a day. No, he's not. You think that 55-year-old tech veteran is going to get accepted into Y Combinator, accepted into Pair VC, accepted into A16Z speedrun? No, he's going to be a dumbass. He's going to kind of sit down and, he's going to have his own company, if he has his own company, with like less than 5 daily active users and $20 in MRR and just kind of, think he's some shit. But you know what? While this other guy has 50,000 monthly active users, I salute this kid. Good job. Keep going. Apply to YC. Apply to Startup Accelerator. Yeah. Keep going. Don't let the boomers stop you. All right. Let's move on. TechCrunch. It felt so wrong. Call an angle on iRobot, the FTC, and the Amazon deal that never was. So Colin Engel is the founder of iRobot. And of course, we talked about a week ago that iRobot is going under. They're filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And we talked about a week ago specifically, and I just pulled this up on my timeline, right? And not to get specific, right? But specifically on December 15th, right? A week ago, I talked about how I blamed the EU regulation for iRobot's bankruptcy. And you know what? And you know what? Like, that may come off as a little bit, not politically correct or whatever. The EU's pristine, whatever, right? And this isn't a political show. It's a finance show, tech show, AI show, news show. But it's like, there's me as the trailblazer. Nobody was saying anything. And then a full week later, right? This article came out on December 20th, so 2 days ago. So 5 days after I said it. He talks about how the founder, right? So TechCrunch says, you called the bankruptcy avoidable and a tragedy for customers. Walk me through what you think regulators got wrong in blocking the Amazon acquisition. So they're teeing it up for him. And then he responds, the founder, I think there's a real lesson around the role that the FTC and the European Commission. The goal, of course, is to avoid the abuses that can happen in monopolies and with the goal of protecting consumer choice and protecting innovation. But then he goes into why the EU killed this deal between Amazon and iRobot. And then with all the regulation. And so he said it should have been a no-brainer. It should have been 3-4 weeks of investigation. Instead, it was a year and a half of pendency, which was very challenging on the ability for the company to operate and ultimately having the acquisition blocked. All right, so thank you. So after I said it, he went ahead and said it too. That's okay. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that I was the first one to say it. It's okay to take a victory lap. All right, but yeah, the EU Commission blocked and killed iRobot. It's just the way it is. Elon, and this is the final thing. Elon Musk's $56 billion Tesla pay package restored by a Delaware Supreme Court. Thank you very much. Thank you. January 2024, it gets initially struck down. The plaintiff strikes the judge strikes down the pay package in January 2024. Yeah. Elon gets involved in politics and suddenly it's like, oh, we have to take away his pay package. We have to do this, that. We have to start, doing everything that people did regarding the Tesla showrooms and everything. Right. Enough said. I don't want to go there. But yeah, we have to start doing all sorts of stuff. Why? Because he got involved in politics on the wrong side. Okay, great. All right, well, I'm gonna leave it there. That was quite a heated show, but yeah, I mean, you don't have fires every day by PG&E. You just have them every year, almost. But yeah, so enough ranting and raving. Make sure to download Byte AI market analysis again, stock portfolio copilot. I use it every morning, but of course, it's not a financial advisor. No, neither am I. And past success does not guarantee future results. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Peace, guys.